What does it take to reach one of the highest Apex tiers on the EU West server, on any server realistically? This is a question that I'll be answering today from my personal perspective. Um, I think you guys probably don't know, but I was a platinum player for the majority of my league career and
咱们也应
managed
该
to
是北团，
reach EU West Grandmaster
大概率是
recently,
吧？我不在对
um,
面。
trying to hit Challenger now. And I kind of want to walk you guys through what I did exactly to do that. Um, what it actually takes to do that, at least from my perspective, and what my own journey was. A little bit like my history, that I had with this game, and how I personally got into playing Qiyana. I thought that would be pretty interesting for some of you guys that have been watching me for quite some time. So, Qiyana. How did I get into Qiyana? It's actually funny because I was Draven
对，
and Vayne 2-trick. I was playing ADC and top lane. I know, guys. I know, range top laner, this, that. I know. And then at some point I decided to one-trick Katarina,
我不
which
错，我在
was
这里有
like
点东西。
maybe a 4 or 5 year journey, right? And I was basically platinum, low diamond. And back then you didn't have emerald, so platinum was the rank right before diamond. And I was playing a lot with a friend of mine back then, right? And that friend saw that I was stomping all my games, right? Like, I wouldn't close the games because I simply had 20 kills on Katarina, but I would, like, lose the games. And then he was like, I mean, why are you not trying to make something out of this? Like, why are you not trying to maybe, do some content or start streaming? And then he showed me all these streamers. I wasn't into streamers or like YouTube content at all. I was basically only playing myself without any YouTube content or watching anything, right? And then I kind of got into that content creation type of, rabbit hole. And I didn't create content myself back then. It was way too early. I was super, like, I was not confident at all as a person. And then what ended up happening is that I found Midbeast. And yeah, Midbeast at that time posted a new video that I want to show you guys, which is about Beif and Kiana. So he posted this video right here, where he typed, "Everybody's terrified of this 1800 LP Kiana player on the Chinese super server." And as you can see, guys, here is a playlist, I'm gonna link it in the description as well, where you can find essentially every video that Midbeast did on Beifeng, on the 1800 LP Kiana, right? And those videos, I was basically waiting for them over and over and over in order to watch them because they were so addictive, and the way Beifeng played back then was completely nuts, and Kiana was insanely giga turbo broken. And what then ended up happening is that I fell in love with Kiana. This was roughly 5 years ago. I would stick to watching Beifeng play, and I wouldn't play it myself. I would only play it in normal games. But I would really, really suck. Like, my first couple of Kiana games, I didn't even know how to grab an element. Like, it was, back then on YouTube, it was a little bit different. There wasn't a guide for everything, guys. Like, when you learned the champion, you actually just fucking played the champ. Like, you just played the champion and you kind of got along with it somehow. And then at some point, guides started coming by. Johnny Fast started doing content and all of that stuff. Peace out to Johnny Fast. Absolute Kiana legend. And then what actually ended up happening is that I really got into Kiana and I played thousands of normal games on this champion, right? And back then playing normal games and just playing ranked for fun with your friend was completely normal, right? So that's exactly what I did. And
对，
after playing a lot of games, I still had no ambitions to reach high elo or anything. I was just a dude enjoying the game.
今天还
And at
行。
that time, I was
这样我
giga
有点
addicted to
腿
the
疼。
game. Like, I would basically play until 5 a.m. in the morning, like sleep 1 hour or something, and then go to school. That's how I would live. Like, I would just play every single day, all day. I would still do other social things like go to the football club and all of that stuff and play myself as football or soccer, however you want to call it. In Europe, we call it soccer. Sorry, football. And the thing is that at some point, in my journey, I realized that I want to spend less time with League. So I basically took a 1 year break because it was getting the hang of me. And that was a couple of years ago. I think, what was it? Like 5 years ago or something, maybe? Maybe even a bit longer. Honestly, I can't even exactly tell you. It's a bit hard to remember when exactly it was, but I was simply having a break, like a 1 year break. from League entirely. Like I didn't do anything with League because it was getting the hang of me, right? Like I was simply using a lot of time for it, and I didn't really have anything meaningful that I would benefit from when it comes to playing League. So I stopped playing the game for a year, and then I came back, and I realized that that thought that my friend, which I still have today, it's one of my best friends, put into my mind of why don't you create content, it kind of stuck with me. Like it was like a virus, bro, that was spreading in my head. Like I just couldn't stop thinking about that, and it just kept me. I wouldn't say it kept me up at night, but I always wanted to do it. Like it was permanently on my mind. I really wanted to create content, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I had a bit of an experimenting phase, right? Like I would just experiment, have a bit of fun on the Rift, you know, play ranked games. I would get to like Platinum, Diamond again. At that point, I think Emerald was already there. And then what would end up happening is that I got into Qiyana really, really heavily, and that was like 4 years ago. And then what ended up happening is that I started spamming Qiyana in ranked games, and I got to Diamond. And the way I got to Diamond was simply by playing shitloads of games, but keeping my IRL fundamentals in line. That was like the first time where I actually had somewhat of a growth mindset, you could say. Not naturally. Like I didn't think about it, it was just how I wanted to live. Like I didn't want to be addicted to a game, so I had kind of controlled times where I would play. And yeah, that's kind of how my journey started to begin. And then I started posting content on YouTube, on my first channel back then that most of you probably don't even know. That channel has been deleted already. Yeah, and then I at some point had some IRL issues. I had some problems, and I ended up not playing League for like a month. And after that month, I learned a lot about myself. I'm not gonna go into the details because it's something private that I don't want to talk about. And then what ends up happening is that I basically started or kept posting on that YouTube channel and created a new one, right? So I created a new YouTube channel, which is the channel you see today that you are watching this video on. And I decided I want to become one of the best Kiana players on my server for now. And back then, guys, I was a Platinum player. Now, a lot of people think that it's a very bold thing to say that when you are Platinum or Gold or whatever. But and this is the reason why I have this channel and why I have this entire journey. I never had the option, or I was never able to be exceptional at anything, right? Like in school, I was better than average, but not exceptional, right? And I also didn't do much. Like I just got along in school without really learning too much, you know. At work, I did my work, you know. I did my work really well, and you know, I had a great time there. But even there, it's hard to be exceptional at a normal job. Like, yes, you can be exceptional at a normal job, but it doesn't really mean that much because other people can do that as well. You just need to work your ass off, right? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, you know, I worked that job for 5 years and I'm really proud of my time there, and I respect everyone that has a normal job, that's not what I'm saying. But I wanted to reach something that is harder to do, that only very few people can reach. And for me, that was always reaching, not Masters, but Grandmaster, because then you are part of the best 1000 players on the server, and that for me is kind of a really high achievement to get to, right? Long term, obviously, I want to reach even more, but that was the first initial thing. And in my mind back then, I was like, well, that shouldn't take too much time. I'm already like, I don't know, low diamond, high plat. This shouldn't be so hard. Then it took me like 2 years to get to Masters. And after getting to Masters the first time, it took me like 2 more years to get to GM, which is where I am now. And now I want to start talking about how I actually got there technically. So what exactly did I do on a day-to-day basis to get to Grandmaster rank on the EOS server? So essentially, guys, first of all, we need to talk about the foundation, because what you are trying to do is you are trying to build a really big house if you want to reach a high rank. And for that big house, you need a foundation. And that foundation is your mindset and how you think about life and about the game. And if you don't have that mindset right, you will struggle a lot and you will have a lot of problems, right? Because you will have to like struggle with a lot of mental issues that will haunt you, literally. Like if you are tilted very often when playing, if you don't have a growth mindset long term, and if you don't try to improve, because you simply
我的二的签决死
give
的
away
兔子
give
我
away
开挂了
responsibility to your teammates or someone else or your environmental things, then you will not be successful long term, in my opinion. And the way you do that is by simply having a growth mindset. So what does this actually do? This means that you truly believe that you are the one that is in control of your games and that you are the one that has control over the games in its essence. Like, you are the one that can impact games. Surely there are 4 other players, but you have a lot of tools to actually create windows and win games, right? This is the first initial thing that you need to think about. And then also, if that's the first assumption that you kind of have, this means that after having that assumption, this also means that you can improve as a player. Because if you have a fixed mindset, this means that naturally, if everyone is just playing well or someone is not playing well, like if it's set in stone, then you can't really improve as a player, right? Like, there's nothing to improve on if, you know, you have a fixed mindset. So that's the first step that you need to have. You need to have a growth mindset. And I didn't have that for the majority of my League journey. I played League for 11 years. And after 11 years, now I finally managed to break through. And I had this growth mindset. Excuse you, Beifeng. Bless you.
别闹了
Bro has to sneeze. I think it's the first time I ever hear that guy sneeze, but that's fine. And if you have that growth mindset, the next step is how you think about your journey overall. Do you think playing games is wasted time or not? I never thought that playing League is wasted time because I'm aware of the fact that you can learn a lot when you play League. You can learn a lot about yourself and you can have an amazing journey that helps you to become a better human as well, right? And the foundation that I talked about is one, a growth mindset, and the other thing is you need to have endless dedication. You need to want to have this goal without anyone having to tell you that. Like, everyone in my everyone when it comes to like family and friends doesn't really understand. Like, not a single person understands what this actually means to me. This is only for myself, you know. Like, my girlfriend somehow understands now because I explained it to her, right, and she has been an extremely deciding factor for me to reaching it. But for the majority of my journey, I was the only one really knowing where I want to go and what I want to reach. And you need to be okay with that. Like, you don't do this for others, you do this for yourself. So, being really dedicated and passionate about the game is the #1 thing that needs to be set in stone. There is no other person that needs to tell you, hey, you need to grind solo queue now. No, that needs to come from the bottom of your heart. Like, you need to love doing this, okay? And if you don't have that, I'm afraid that the journey is already over before it even starts. Like, you need to have a certain love for the game. And you can develop that, or you can already have that from the beginning, right? And I kind of had it from the beginning, but I'm pretty sure you can also develop that love for the game. So, then we have to talk about numbers. So how much do you actually have to play? I think if you want to get to Masters, you don't need to play more than 3 games a day if you consistently stick to it for a long period of time and if you have a really good process, growth mindset, blah blah blah, right? If you have all of that stuff, I think more than 3 games a day is not needed. So this is really like doable even if you work a job, and this is what I did for the majority of my journey. So essentially you need 2.5 hours, I would say, per day to get this done if you want to get to Masters. And I think this is a very realistic way of looking at things. Obviously, depending on where you are at, you might be in low gold, you might be in diamond already. Depending on where you are, this can take a bit longer or a shorter period of time. But this is kind of how I would go about it, right? Like, I don't think you need more than 3 games a day, as long as you review each and one of those games. And yeah, so this is kind of the foundational thing, right? So let's talk about how my process exactly looked like. I would wake up in the morning, I would go to the gym in the morning because I think going to the gym is super important. And I did that for quite some time. So before work would start, I would already go get a workout done. And then I would go to work. And after work, which obviously takes a lot of time, I mean, most of you guys probably know this, or you go to school, whatever, right? Like, it really depends on what you're currently doing. Then I would have a break. It's really important because you will be exhausted after work, and I would have a very specific process of how I would calm myself down and refocus myself for my solo queue games. The way I would do that is by simply doing everything I have to do, so nothing is in the back of my mind. So I would not throw my stuff from work into a corner and immediately start playing. No, I would come home, I would put the things into like where they belong, essentially, right? I would keep everything clean, I would eat something, Not too heavily though, because I want to play, and if I eat too heavily, I'm going to end up in food coma, which is not good. And that's when you can start getting into stuff like meditation, and this is what I did, because if you are really exhausted, you will realize that meditation really helps you with that. You can, in essence, you can get to like a very good state of mind very quickly after like 10 minutes of doing it. And this is what helped me a lot personally, right? Like I would just meditate for 10 minutes, I would calm myself down, I would think about what I want to work on today, and then I would end up being in a really good state of mind to play solo queue. And this is essentially what I did every day. Obviously there are ups and downs and you are not 100% consistent, but I tried to do it consistently for a very long period of time. And that's what I did for like essentially 3 years until October. Wait, was it October?
好像都能上。
Yeah, I think it was October last year, so 2025. And that's what got me to high masters. But I realized that it's not enough to play 3 hours of solo queue. It's simply not enough. And I had to level things up. I need to play more solo queue, I need to get more reviews in, and I need to, yeah, get more games done. And the way I did that is by quitting my job. Now, a lot of you might say, are you fucking crazy? Like, you don't even earn enough money to live off this. But what ended up happening is that my job kind of ended naturally, right? Like, I was planning on ending the job anyways. And then it ended up ending naturally because the department I was working on was simply getting outsourced, right? So there was no job to work at in anymore. So I had the decision to make of whether or not I want to continue my job or whether or not I want to, you know, all in on League. At that time I was already doing content, I was already earning money, right? So I kinda had a perspective of, alright, I mean I can try this stuff out, right? Like I can get along with this for quite some time, why not try it? And this is kind of the position I am in right now. This has been in October, and from October to now I've climbed 900 LP. Compared to my to the season start, like, you know, starting at 0 LP masters and stuff. And now I'm in a position where I'm currently sitting at 700 LP, or like 730 I think, peaking at 930 LP this season. The reason why I lost a lot of LP, by the way, is because I was streaming my games and I realized that I play worse when I'm streaming. So that's why I have this huge dip of 200 LP, but I'm surely I'll get back up there. I'm sure I'll get back up there. So let's now talk about what I did in the last couple of weeks to actually get to Grandmaster. So first of all, you need to understand that there's a lot of knowledge that has already been built up over the last couple of years. I learned a lot about the game, I took so many coachings. And I'll talk about coaching as a topic separately after I told you what I did, okay? And how I used coaching in order to get better as a player. So now, what I did essentially is I locked myself in. I just realized that slowly the things are starting to go into a direction where I want them to go. I was already ahead of my peak. I was sitting at like 500, over 500 LP, like 500, 600 LP, which is above my peak that I had before. And I realized, okay, if I lock in now and if I get really high quality games in, I will probably get to Grandmaster. So that's when I decided I'm gonna lock myself in. At that time, my girlfriend was sick, so I couldn't really spend time with her anyways. And then I realized, okay, I mean, if I do it, I'll do it now, right? And because we're not living together, so we are still living separately. And what ended up happening is that I basically locked myself in for 2 weeks roughly. 1.5, 2 weeks. I bought food for those 2 weeks. I didn't leave the house. The only thing I did was clean myself up every morning, you know, do stuff I had to do real quick. And then I would play solo queue for like 13 to 14 hours every single day, locking in on playing, reviewing, playing, reviewing, playing, reviewing. And I did that for literally 2 weeks. And that's how I got to Grandmaster. Now, there are very specific gameplay things that I'll talk about in the end of the video that got me to GM. And I think you are really hyped about hearing that as well, because that's the actual technical things that got me there, right? Like the in-game stuff that made me get to Grandmaster. But first of all, I want to talk about coaching and the next thing that's kind of super important, alright? And the next thing that's super important, guys, is coaching and number 2, a community, okay? This is by far the most important part that I am talking about today, okay? Because dedication and, you know, being really passionate about the game and love for the game, you can have that like on your own. But having a community that surrounds you all the time and coaches that you can ask all the time for problems that others have already been facing, is the biggest cheat code for me that has been there. Like, I'm telling you, being part of the MLA myself, I could literally prove it to you now. I could literally show you paychecks of me being within the MLA for like 2 years, which is the mid lane academy from Coach Curtis. That has been by far the biggest game changer ever, because I had the option to send direct messages to challenger players that have been coaching people for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, right? And that is the single-handedly most OP thing ever, because you don't have to figure stuff out for yourself. If you have mental issues, and I had a lot of them, like stage 4 issues with the game, you know, like stuff that is outside of the game, IRL things that I was struggling with, blaming teammates, how do I fix that, you know? Taking responsibility, how do I properly develop a growth mindset, how do I... And very small niche things, confidence issues. I could name a million things that I was struggling with, and I just sent a DM to a coach, and he immediately helped me out with that. He just gave me 4 options to work it out, and I tried them out, and they simply worked, because they have experience, you know? And then also having a community of like-minded people. Like, in the MLA, for example, you have... I'm not saying you have to join the MLA. I think it's by far the best place, but if you don't want to, obviously that's up to you. If you can also join a different community. But simply having a community and people around you that have a positive mindset about the game is extremely important, because it puts you into the right perspective. It puts you into the right state of mind to actually play all your games out for a long period of time. Guys, I'ma be honest, I would have probably quit multiple times if I wouldn't have the MLA. And the way for me to, like, articulate how important that is simply by... Like, it's so hard for me to put into words, because they've been supporting me for like 2 years, right? Obviously it's not for free, like I paid for it, but still. Like, it was so helpful. And it's impossible for me to articulate it, because the amount of DMs I've sent to coaches is insufferable. Like, bro, the stuff I was struggling with is insane. Like, I'm just a normal dude. I was a platinum player that tried to get to Grandmaster. And if I wouldn't have experienced people around me that helped me achieve that, I don't know if I would have been able to get there. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I think it was the most deciding factor. Was it cheap? Hell no. I spent over 2,500 euros. I'm gonna be completely transparent with you guys, to reach the goal of Grandmaster. And I can't buy myself anything from it as of now. Surely I might get more coachings, surely my knowledge of the game is better now, surely I can create better content, yes. But that is indirect value that I personally get from it. I only did that to become exceptional at something. Which arguably I can still become much better, right? I'm only GM, I mean, you can still get to high challenger or rank 1 or something, right? Like, there are still goals that I have. But getting GM is like the first big milestone that I wanted to have. And I kind of made it, right? And I'm super proud of myself that I was able to get it. And those things that I talked about today are kind of the reasons, like, that are kind of the things that made me get there. First of all, you have, to summarize it, the dedication part, the growth mindset. That is the foundational things that you definitely need in order to get there. The second thing that you need is you need to have a very good process. You need to review your games. You need to be okay with being the one responsible for your losses. You know, you need to take responsibility for your games, because that you are the only deciding factor that can actually influence games. And number 3, community and coaching in one point, right? Like, you need to have these 2 things. If you don't have a good community, if you don't have coaching as a tool to help you out, you will struggle, guys. You will struggle a lot, and I'm 100% sure that you won't be able to make it if you don't have the help from higher ranked players that have been there already. Like, just to name a few guys, and I name all these people because they have been the most important factors of me getting there. Coach Curtis, number 1. I cannot put into words how grateful I am for him creating the MLA. It's by far the most impactful tool that I've ever used to climb. Like, period. There's not much to say to it. Plus, he's a great person, and a great role model as well for me. Like, whenever I would misbehave, I would be like, if Curtis would be watching over my shoulder now, if he would watch what I just did, he would be fucking disappointed, you know what I mean? And then I would be like, yeah, that's not a good behavior to have, man. Like, I was tilted there, you know, I flamed someone. That is really bad behavior. And he was kind of, for me, like the... How can I explain this? He was, for me, the border to what ideal behavior in League looks like, if you know what I mean. Like, that's kind of how I felt when I was playing, you know. And whenever I would misbehave, I would be like, yeah, this is not right. And the reason why it's not right is because I know exactly what Curtis would say to this, right? So that's kind of how I was able to hold myself accountable, right? Then we have Coach Mysterious, okay? Tim. So you probably know him. He's an educational creator right now that's pretty big. And I was already in the MLA when he wasn't as big on YouTube. And I actually had one of my first sessions with him in the MLA. And he was such a positive role model for me all the time. You know, you have AJ, which doesn't really create content, but he's also a coach in the MLA. You have Aledos, which is one of my best friends these days. And um, honestly, just an amazing coach as well. We have Shock. All of you guys know Shock. Shock is the absolute GOAT. These are just a couple of names, guys. And there are many more. I can't name all of them. It would take way too long in this video. But there are so many people around me that enabled me to get to Grandmaster. And the only way I got to know them was through joining the MLA. So that's why this community and coaching thing is so important in my opinion. It held me accountable. And it basically gave me knowledge, guys. I learned concepts that getting to know these concepts myself would be a matter of significantly more years. Coaching basically saves you time, right? Like, the amount of time that I saved by taking coaching is probably like 3 to 4 years. I'm not over-exaggerating here. Like, I literally saved 3 to 4 years, approximately, I would guess, by taking coaching and, yeah, just, you know, accepting help from others. And the other thing is that, and this is kind of the last thing I want to talk about because this video has been really long, but I want to make this a long video because, to be honest, like, I want you guys to fully understand my entire journey, right? And I know that not a lot of people will probably watch this, and that's totally fine for me, but the ones that watch it, I want you guys to have a really good idea of what it actually takes, alright? So I just want to summarize it and then also give you an outlook of why I did all of this, okay? So I spent 13,000 hours playing the game, and the reviews are not even included in here, alright? This is how much time it took me to get from, like, Platinum to Grandmaster. I spent 2,500 euros on coaching, more than that even. I basically sacrificed so much time. Like, the amount of time that I sacrificed is surreal. I said no to friends, I said no to my family when they wanted to do something. Unless it was an event that I really wanted to attend, and I simply had to attend because it's like, you know, a family celebration, like birthdays, Christmas, you know the drill, right? Like Easter and all of that stuff. So if there was something like that, obviously I would attend it. But apart from that, if there was something like that wasn't a normal, that wasn't a thing I had to attend, I would say no, right? So this is simply something you have to do. Guys, there was one time, and I would always do it again like that, where a close member of my family was actually in a hospital, right? And even though I did go there and I did visit them, obviously because it's a loved one, I could have been there significantly more often, but I wouldn't have been able to play my solo queue games. So what I ended up doing is I did go there, right? But I went there significantly less simply because I had to get my games in. That there is no skipping days, guys. I haven't skipped a single day of solo queue for the last 2 or 3 years. Because that's simply what it takes if you want to become really good at the game. And I'm only Grandmaster, guys. I'm not even Challenger yet. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like... And that's also the last point, right? Like, yes, it's only a rank in a video game. But it's not about reaching gem. And it's not about where you go. It's about how you get there. And the amount of things that I learned about myself. The amount of learnings I had when it comes to being disciplined, sacrifice, and what it actually takes to become better at something and become really good at something, that stuff is irreplaceable. No matter what I do in my life, I will always have this knowledge about myself that I can achieve it. It sounds weird because it's only a rank in a video game, but if you hit a very high rank in a video game, especially in League, which is the hardest game to achieve that in, I'm totally convinced about that, what will end up happening is that you truly know what it means to sacrifice things, and you have confidence in yourself to reach a really high rank, simply put. You simply have confidence. I have so much no matter what I do in my life, no matter which job I attend, no matter what I try to do, if I want to run a marathon, I know for a fact if I want to run a marathon and I decide to do that tomorrow, I will succeed at it. Because I know how to create a process. I know how to train. I know how to get there, right? And that knowledge simply helps me to achieve anything I want in life. And you might be saying, that guy's capping. That can't be true. Like, it's only a video game. It's not only a video game, guys. Reaching rank 600 out of 3 million players is really fucking bloody hard. And even though people disrespect it and Whatever the fuck it is, I don't give a shit. For me, this means the world, and it will always mean the world, and it's something that nobody can take away from me anymore. I have achieved this for myself. I was able to get there, and this is simply something that I will have for the rest of my life. And it was 100% worth the sacrifice, in my opinion. 100% worth the sacrifice. And even though I lost a lot of time with friends, I lost a lot of time with my family, it was 1,000,000% worth it. And I would always do it again because it simply gave me a confidence that nothing else could have given me. This was by far the hardest thing I did in my entire life, by the way. Like, this was harder than finishing school. This was harder than finishing my traineeship for work. This was the hardest thing I ever did. Literally, guys. And the moment I got to Grandmaster, that feeling was something I never experienced before. And for others, it might be so fucking laughable because they are just challenger randomly because they're simply better players. And I get that, right? But if you've been working on something for like 4 years, like, it's not normal, guy. Like, the amount of joy you feel immediately after getting it is something that you simply cannot replace. Like, it was a feeling that is undescribable. And I truly believe that's an equivalent feeling of winning the Champions League or some shit. I'm not kidding here, guys. Like, probably not the exact same thing. It's probably still a little bit different. But that feeling of pure joy that you have within yourself as soon as you achieve that rank is something that I will never forget, and it will always stick with me. And that's why I can just advise all of you to do it for yourself, but not for others. And obviously, my mission is to help every one of you guys to just succeed at the game as well, on Qiyana specifically, but also on other champions, on other assassins and champs generally speaking. And I only did that for myself, also, but I also did it for others, right? Like, I want to be a better player so I can dish out more knowledge, I can dish out more content, I can actually help you guys to get better at the game. And that's also why my last word for today is, if you want to improve at the game, if you want my perspective for yourself and how you can actually improve at the game on your champions that you are playing, make sure to check out the links below. I'm super happy to help you guys out in a coaching session or join the MLA. In my opinion, the best coaching community in the world. And yeah, give it a try, guys. Check it out. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments or join my Discord. It's completely free and there are a lot of like-minded people. And yeah, I wish you guys a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you guys in the next video.